So good morning students, how are you all? I hope you all are doing good. So I hope you remember what we have discussed in the last class. So we have already discussed about the steps of crop production. So we are going to continue today with the crop production. Okay, methods of crop production. Methods of crop production. Alright. So in your last class we have already discussed 4 steps. So today we will be talking about another 4 steps. They are, one is weeding, and the second one is protection. So protection from pests and diseases. Pests and diseases. Okay. And the third one is harvest. So harvesting, tracing, and winnowing. And winnowing. And the last one is storage. So we will be discussing first about weeding. Okay. So when I say this word weeding, when I say this word weeding, this has some related with the word called weed. So now what is weed? So weed are the unwanted plants grown along with the crops. So now you must be asking, like, what is this weeding now? I said these are unwanted plants which are grown along with the crops. So now weeding is the removal of weed. Okay. So now let's study few characteristics of weeds again. Okay. We are going to study features or characteristics. Okay, or characteristics of wheat. So we are going to study about features of or characteristics of wheat. So there are certain facts about wheats. Okay. So the first one is compete with the crops. You know what they do? They used to compete with the crops. They used to compete with the crops. For what they compete? They compete for water. They compete for water, minerals and sunlight. You know, these are very important for plant growth, isn't it? These are very important. So they used to compete since they grow along with the crops. You know, as a number of plants, or say crops itself is taking to occupy the land or the soil, so they are grown in perfect way to keep distance. But this particular wheat they used to grow, and again, since they grow, obviously you need more sunlight and minerals, and from where do you get? Grown, where they are grown from the land, they try to compete with the crop, isn't it? But you know one thing, like when the crops are grown and like hazy valley, not in the perfect distance, including this wheat, so definitely there will be deficiency of this important things. So ultimately your crops will be died, or say you will less yield of crops. Okay. So the next one is different types of weeds grow in different crops. Alright, so different types of weeds. So the weeds which grow in, for example, in wheat plants may not grow the plants in, in rice. So, most common that we see in paddy crops, rice, in the paddy crops, and you will see the grasses growing also. Grass are also weeds, isn't it? So, what we have to do is, we should actually remove them time to time. Otherwise, the crops will be destroyed. Or say, the crops will yield less than expected without weeds. Okay? And the next one is, they also vary from place to place and from season to season. Meaning, these weeds can also grow from place to place and from season to season. So they also vary again, okay, based on this factor. And one of the common weed is amaranthus. So I told you to see your textbook. Right here, you can see this. This is a very common weed, alright? So follow me with the textbook. I want you to focus so that you can follow me up. And now we'll be discussing how weeding can be done. Okay? How? Question arises in our mind. How weeding can be done? How weeding can be done? So can you actually tell me how weeding can be done? How to remove these unwanted crops? So do you have any experience or did you see anywhere? Okay, great. So let's see from your textbook. So by pulling the weeds out by hand or by using a trowel or a harrow to uproot them. So right here. Did you see this? Implements used for weeding. You can see we can use manually by hand also. And then we can use this harrow and you can use this trowel to remove the weeds. Okay? So, it is also can be done by spraying chemicals called herbicides. So, by certain elements we can use by, certain elements, as I have mentioned and shown you. We can do that, and also we can do by herbicides. And we can also do by herbicides. We can remove it by herbicides. Okay. So now let's see what are there again. So herbicides. Here you should understand. All right. So now how will you remove by using herbicides? Definitely you will use these chemicals by spraying. By spraying. Okay. So here you should remember, even though we can kill weeds by herbicides, there are certain disadvantages also. So we should be very careful. So they destroy the weeds, but they do not affect the man because they are harmful. And that's why we should be very specific when using these herbicides. Of course, they do not destroy the crops, but they destroy the weeds. So this is one advantage, but still then we should be careful while doing this also. So what are the examples of weedicides now? Let's see the examples of weedicides. Weedicides. Okay. Weedicides. So here are herbicides or weedicides. These herbicides are same like a herbicide. So let's see what are the examples of weedicides. One, telephone. Is that? Telephone and metachlor. Metachlor. So quite uncommon. And cynism. Cynism. These are the examples of weedicides. Okay. Okay, as I have said that even though they have, various advantages in removing the weeds, still they are quite harmful for crops. So, so pesticides are poisonous and the grains must be properly washed before being consumed, or the grains should be washed before we eat. So since they are poisonous, so we should be careful that we should wash it properly before we eat or we should be consumed, alright? And then what else? Spraying may affect the health of farmers. Yes, because we already know that it is poisonous, so definitely it will affect the farmers. So what farmers should do now? Since weedicides are poisonous, okay? So what farmers should do? They should be very careful. They should cover their mouths and then noses with cloth while spraying. What is that? They should cover the nose, mouth with cloths. So have you ever seen like this farmers covering their face and noses while spraying that herbicide or something like that? Very few does. So when you see such kind, like when you happen to see the farmers, they are using the herbicides without covering their noses or mouth. So you also have the responsibility to tell them, because you are studying, you have the knowledge, isn't it? And this is the best way to apply your knowledge. Okay. So now what again? So now with the advanced research, they have come up with safer methods to kill weeds, as these are harmful. So now researcher has come up and with a better idea to kill the weeds. So for example, insects that attack only specific weeds. So insects, there are certain insects which only attack the weeds. So these insects have been used to control weeds. So in order to get, so what happens? So in order to get more number of such kind of insects, so now what they are doing, the experiments have conducted to attract and trap the male population of the insects. Why? To check their reproductions. And they want, what is the main person behind this? Because they want to increase and they want to, save, and they want to use the insects for the removal of weeds in place of certain harmful chemicals. So next is protection from pests and diseases. So now we will be studying about protection from pests and diseases. Protection from pests and diseases. So what are pests? We have to protect our plants from pests and diseases. So when we grow crops, so our main goal is to grow more crops and to get more grains for us to eat. So that's why it is very important for us as we cultivate crops, and then that's our duty to protect our crops from certain pests or say diseases. So now what are pests? So let me just get this everywhere. These are organisms. These are organisms. So when I say organisms, means they are living beings. Okay? So these are the organisms which attack. What? Crops. They attack crops. So this pests, they used to attack crops. So, and they are also, we can say, two types. So let's see what are these two types. Rodents and course, it will damage our crops. Rodents, for example, rats and insects, for example, for example, locusts, weevils or termites. And what about this grain? What they do? They eat the grains, isn't it? So if you happen to visit paddy field, so someday, when our crop is ready to harvest and it's mature, so you will see that they used to eat the grains and they used to take the grains and then they used to take in their holes. They live in the holes, right? So they used to take the crops and then they used to eat. So yes, rats are also pests, and then if you observe the crop carefully, sometimes you will see green color insects, yes. So in the leaves, sometimes you will see, some sort of insects. They are green in color, so they usually eat the leaves and they destroy the leaves. Okay. So now, how do we control pest in crops? So we study how harmful, or how they destroy our crops. So now we should also know how to protect our crops. From the pest. Alright? So we should know how. How do we protect it? So let's see one by one. So it can be controlled by pesticides. Yes. How do we control this? Or how do we protect our crops? So it can be, the first one is through pesticides. Through these pesticides we can protect our crops. And also it can be controlled by pesticides, yes. Pesticides kill pests as well as their eggs and larvae. So what is it? They kill the pests. You know how they kill? They kill the pests and also their eggs, and even they kill the larvae. Okay. So pesticides includes, whether the pesticides includes, we already discussed a little bit, insecticides and rodenticides. Okay. So insecticides and rodenticides. So when I say insecticides, definitely it is meant to kill for insects, and rodenticides, like rats, rodents, for example, like rats. So how do we apply insecticides to crops? Alright, the question the next is how? How do we apply? Okay, how do we apply insecticides, or let's say pesticides, How do we apply insecticides or pesticides to where? Crop. How do we apply? How do we apply insecticides, pesticides to our crops? Okay, let's see this. What I want. First one is sprayed by hand-operated machines or by low-flying aircraft in fields and roads. By low-flying aircraft. Low-flying aircraft. Okay. By low-flying aircraft. And this is only applied when the crops is large, the field is large, and then the crop field is very large. And if it's the field is not that large, then we can use hand-operated machines. Okay? Hand-operated machine. Operated machine. Okay. So this is how we can use for applying insecticides or pesticides to our crops. Now, diseases of crops. Remember right now we are discussing the topic is protection of crops from pests and diseases. Let's see how to protect. Protection of crops from diseases. Okay. At first we discussed about pests, now we are discussing about diseases. So let's see. So when I say diseases, we human beings also suffer from various types of diseases. Present we are suffering from COVID-19. The world is suffering, and because of this reason, right, we are taking your class in this way without the presence of you all. So it is quite challenging. So let's see how plants also they suffer from diseases. Okay. Okay. So our crops, how they suffer? Our crops also suffer from diseases caused by fungi. Fungi, we suffer from fungi, bacteria, or viruses. Fungi, viruses, or bacteria. So, bacteria, sorry, I am very fast. Viruses or bacteria. So, and now, how do they spread? How do these diseases spread in plants? Let's see how do diseases spread. How this diseases spread in plants? Diseases spread in plants. Or say in crops. How? That's very simple. It is through seed, air, soil. So what? Through seed, air, or soil. Okay. So examples of plants diseases are, okay, follow me with the text. So these are rust and smart fungal diseases of wheat, blight of 42s. So wilt diseases by a bacterium. So here we will discuss in wilt disease. So what happens in wilt disease? Let's see what happens in wilt disease of plants. Wilt diseases. Okay. So what happens? So right here, this bacteria, they attack xylem tissue. They attack where? They attack in xylem tissue. What will happen when the plants will be attacked in xylem tissues? Definitely, and this function itself is, transfer water upward, isn't it? To transfer water. So if xylem tissue itself is get blocked, it's get blocked by bacterium or say certain organisms. So what will happen? Definitely the plants will not able to transport water, and ultimately what will happen? The plants will occur, the leaves and all will be dried up slowly, yellowish, and then ultimately the plants will dry, and then they will definitely die. Plants suffer wilt diseases. Okay. So what happened? So what we can say is pesticides gives protection to crops against the diseases. Yes, pesticides they protect our crops, isn't it? For example, fungicides are used to destroy fungi. As we are discussing certain diseases, pesticides can heal the plants from diseases. And fungicides are diseases caused by fungi. Remember this fungicides. The name itself says fungicides means caused by fungi. Okay. So some pesticides are poisonous chemicals. It should be used with caution. So I already told before also, pesticides are very poisonous chemicals. So it should be used in cautious way. Alright. So what is the disadvantages between this about this pesticides? So basically they target particular insects or say certain organisms to save the crops. But what happens when the try to attack the particular cell mass, or do they try to attack certain larva? But only such things doesn't visit the crop. Sometimes many others, like you say, honeybees and many other useful insects also visit the crop. So what happens ultimately when the pesticide is sprayed? These also get affected than all this. So this is one of the big disadvantages. Okay, so pesticides causes irritation of skin. Definitely, it causes irritation of skin and respiratory problems. Okay, so and the next one is it mixes with the soil. It gets mixes with the soil, and this is the worst thing. These pesticides get mixed with what? With soil. Okay. So, what does the crops absorb again? So, crop absorb soil, isn't it? So, ultimately, our crop is also affected with the pesticides. Okay. So, what happens then? Definitely when we eat this crops, it will enter in our body in the form of what? Fruits and vegetables, isn't it? So it has huge disadvantages in us. So now let's see. So what happens? Basically when we go and buy in the markets or fruit shops, sometimes we see the label, sometimes we see the label of pesticides potted. So we should be careful, before we eat, we should wash the fruits very properly so that we will not eat the pesticides, isn't it? We will not be harmful with those harmful, chemicals. We won't get harmed. So, in the next we will be discussing about harvesting, threshing, and winnowing, and then storage. Okay.